A look at Parliament Hill tonight. Lines of trucks and people camping out in downtown Ottawa, blocking roads and bringing this area of the city to a standstill. They've come from all over Canada to demonstrate against COVID restrictions and mandates, the government, even the vaccines. Protesters arrived through Friday and Saturday, and the question tonight is, how long will they remain? After yesterday's huge crowd, today's protest was smaller, generally peaceful, but the demonstration has caught the country's attention and that of police. Tonight, with streets clogged and protesters staying put, police are asking anyone who works in the downtown core to plan to work from home, and they're asking everyone to avoid traveling there. They've come from all over Canada to demonstrate against COVID restrictions and mandates, against the government, even the vaccines. Protesters arriving through Friday and Saturday, and the question tonight is, how long will they remain? After yesterday's huge crowd, today's protest was smaller, generally peaceful, but the demonstration has caught the country's attention and that of police. Tonight, with streets clogged and protesters staying put, the police are asking anyone who works in the downtown core to plan to work from home, and they're asking everyone to avoid traveling there. And Travis Dhanraj is out on Parliament Hill. Travis, you've been out in the crowd throughout the day, actually doing a fantastic job. Well, what's the scene there tonight?
Well, listen, Ian, the protest, it was definitely smaller today, but there were still thousands here on Parliament Hill. And as you can see behind me, there are still a lot of people out right now. A lot of truckers that we talked to say they are here for the long haul. And the big question right now with the resumption of Parliament tomorrow is, when and how will this all end? For 24 hours, it's been constant. Horns blaring, protesters and trucks lining the streets outside Canada's Parliament buildings.
What if the police say you gotta go?
I'm staying. I'm not leaving until the mandates are gone.
It's not gonna end. Until they do something, it's not gonna end.
That is something organizers of the convoy doubled down on at a press conference. CBC News among the many media outlets not invited to attend.
As long as you keep fueling them, they can sit there for weeks and months. And now we have, I don't know, $8 million?
That money is from the GoFundMe campaign. $1 million has been released to fundraisers, but getting fuel to all of these trucks could pose a problem as the perimeter is expanding around Parliament Hill. The city's core has been virtually shut down for 2 days. Restaurants, retail, liquor stores, the mall, all closed. Frustration among residents is growing.
They're residential neighborhoods, and they've been upset and really put out because, quite frankly, they feel they're prisoners in their own home.
Frustration, too, over scenes like this. A statue of Terry Fox targeted, protesters dancing on the tomb of the unknown soldier, and staff at a homeless shelter say they were harassed by protesters looking for food. One arrest has been made. Multiple investigations are underway for vandalism, bribery, and dangerous operation of motor vehicles. What are you going to do to move the trucks?
For those who choose to remain, we'll make that assessment once we understand who's still here.
Are you willing to move in and forcibly remove those vehicles if necessary?
We'll continue to do what we have been doing, which is assessing the risk to public, balanced against the rights for people to protest.
And Travis, what are police saying about their plans heading into tomorrow?
Well, there are multiple agencies involved, and police say that they are going to maintain a large presence through the evening and then reassess the situation in the morning. There are also questions about MPs returning to Parliament Hill tomorrow and what the security will be for them as Parliament resumes in the morning. And already one school has been closed down tomorrow here in Ottawa. Ian?
All right, Travis, thank you. Broadly speaking, this protest is about COVID restrictions, but there's a tangle of causes and demands from the crowd on Parliament Hill. David Common takes a closer look at where the movement started and the people behind it.
The often gleeful scenes before Parliament hide the nuance here. A unifying factor is frustration, wrapped up in an anti-mandate, anti-vax, anti-restrictions message. But for some, the solution sounds like overthrowing the government. And that may include the convoy's organizers. These three are behind Canada Unity, the core coordinators of the national convoy. They've produced this decree calling on the Governor General and Speaker of the Senate to sign and, together with protesters, order an end to all they find offensive. in effect, become the new rulers of the land, bypassing the elected government. James Bowder is one of them. He wants Justin Trudeau locked up and insists vaccines don't work. Sandra Bowder would be the second protest signatory. She has been repeatedly flagged for sharing vaccine and other COVID misinformation. Martin Brodman, the last signature, he says he's a trucker, unlike the others. Remember, an estimated 90% of truckers are vaccinated, and in spite of claims that 1.4 million people were headed to Ottawa, the true number is in the thousands. But on the ground, the community is energized by being together. They've raised nearly $9 million fast. Tamara Litch and BJ Dichter key to that effort. Litch, the secretary of Alberta's separatist Maverick Party, who shared claims that public health restrictions are akin to what the Nazis did during the Holocaust.
Do we say enough?
Dichter told a People's Party of Canada event in the last election the country is being ruined by the stench of cultural relativism and political Islam. Speaking of the PPC, party leader Maxime Bernier is being hailed a hero by the occupying crowd. Remember, nearly 1 million Canadians voted for his anti-restrictions policy in the fall election. That may be a minority of citizens, but it is not a tiny fringe, and is being noticed outside our borders.
We want those great Canadian truckers to know that we are with them all the way. They are. They've really shown something. It's time to move on.
There will be, of course, a variety of opinions within this group, some more moderate. Not everyone may want the government overthrown. Not everyone's carrying a Nazi flag either, or peeing on the National War Memorial, or dancing on it, or gathering in the mall maskless against the law to make a point, or leaving consumed alcohol in front of Parliament, or throwing objects at journalists. But some are. Democracies do have dissent. Tolerance of it is required for the health of that democracy. But tolerance always has a limit. And the question now, what is it? David Coleman, CBC News, Ottawa.
As David showed us, there's a variety of messages from the protesters. It certainly has captured national attention, but what is it achieving? A little later in the show, I'll be joined by a trucker and an expert in media and information to delve into just that. And there's a protest by truckers against vaccine mandates in Alberta, which has backed up the highway near the border with the U.S. Since Saturday afternoon, cross-border traffic, including fully vaccinated truckers with goods to haul, has been brought to a near standstill by the protests south of Lethbridge. Alberta Premier Jason Kenney has called for it to end, citing safety concerns and the impact on traffic. Welcome back. Here's another look at Parliament Hill in Ottawa tonight. Well, let's take a closer look at who was at the demonstration in Ottawa this weekend, why and what it accomplished. Joining us now, Dave Henry, a long-haul trucker and advocate for truckers' concerns. He's based in Manitoba, but tonight he's on the road and joins us from Fargo, North Dakota. And David Guignon is with the Faculty of Information and Media Studies at Western University in London, Ontario. Welcome to both of you. Dave, you said on Trucker News that the vaccine mandate is the straw that broke the camel's back. So give us a sense of the issues that motivated the trucker convoy.
Well, according to all reports we've ever seen, truckers are 90% vaccinated. And having a mandate come in when we already have almost everybody vaccinated, it just seems like another slap in the face. We don't feel like we've been getting listened to. We've been out here for 2 years hauling goods. We've been trying to follow the rules. And this just seemed like too much after two long years of doing stuff.
Yeah, and Dave, give me a sense of some of the challenges you face on a week-by-week basis.
Getting food, being able to access good washrooms, good showers. It's hard to get into truck stops. If we have doctor's appointments, then some doctors and different places are not liking us to come in and refusing treatment, things like that. So there's a lot of, Trudeau said at the beginning that we are an essential service, but we weren't treated as an essential service. And it's been pretty tough to deal with, and everybody's just tired.
David, you've looked very closely at the demonstration in Ottawa this weekend. How would you describe what you saw?
Well, very much like Dave said, it is a demonstration of, I think, anger and pain that people are experiencing. Now, that is also riddled throughout. There are many various harmful images that we've been seeing, violent images, including swastikas, including other violent imagery that, while we might say that this is only a minority within a broader movement, the very fact that these images are even there without them being called out, without them being challenged, is concerning, and it raises some questions as to how much of this is motivated by what is legitimate trucker pain, and how much of it is motivated by perhaps a political agenda, perhaps a religious one, because that is certainly something we've been hearing a lot of in Ottawa today and yesterday.
Dave, as I mentioned, you're in your truck in Fargo. You're not in Ottawa. Why didn't you join the convoy?
Well, for the very reason that at the beginning, this was not organized by a trucker, and this was organized by people that made it very clear that they wanted to overthrow the government. And that's ridiculous in our day and age, especially in a democracy. We're not talking about living in a place where we're under autocratic rule, you know, and if we don't like the elected officials, we vote them out. And this movement has been hijacked by people that are not truckers. And as David said, there's some very disturbing images from some places by the Parliament buildings. Where the truckers are is a much different scenario. It seems, I've talked to friends there, and they describe it like a big block party. And none of the truckers, none of them are on board with swastikas and hate speech of any kind.
David, I know you study, among other things, misinformation. What about the link between that and some of the rhetoric coming out of Ottawa this weekend?
Well, part of this is motivated by one particular bit of misinformation, and that is that Omicron, the newest variant of COVID-19, is less deadly than the previous ones. And people conclude from that, then therefore we should be looking to opening up. But of course, that doesn't seem to be reflected in the data, where 150, 160 Canadians are dying each day. And so in the face of this, no matter what the grievances are that people have toward the government, we all have to keep our eye on our real enemy, and that is COVID-19, and how we can begin to undo or to combat misinformation that is contributing to our turning our anger away from COVID onto other places.
Dave, we have about a minute left, and I want to give the last word to you as a trucker who wasn't part of the rally, but probably speak for a lot of truckers across the country. What message would you like to leave with the people who are watching now?
This is not organized and directed by truckers. Most of us are out here trying to haul freight, trying to keep the customers happy, trying to keep food on the shelves. This does not reflect well on us, and we are not part of that. We are out here working and still trying to do the work. And I'm thankful for all my brothers and sisters that are in trucking, that are continuing to do their jobs. And let's not get distracted by things that have nothing to do with us doing our jobs.
David, thank you very much for speaking with me this evening.
Thank you.